that didn't work. All right. Well, here we are. Welcome to QAV Live Zoom. My name is Cameron Riley, and we are gathered here today to give to this thing called life. Electric word, life. It means forever, and that's a mighty long time. But I'm here to tell you there's something else. The afterworld. Sorry, a little bit of purple rain there. David Plant, who's with us. The main reason we're here tonight, I think, is to talk about the Josephine checker that David wrote for us in Excel recently. He's going to do a little bit of a demo and talk through and answer your questions. And after that, I can answer any other questions that you might have. I probably won't answer them correctly, just to be warned, but I will answer them to the best of my ability.
Same disclaimer.
Any questions I can't answer, I'll get Tony to answer the next time I'll see him tomorrow, but the next time he's on the show. All right. Well, without any further without any further talking, I'll throw it over to David and he can share his screen and we can do a little bit of a walkthrough, David.
Perfect. Evening, everybody. I'm on the East Coast, so afternoon to me and anybody else who's on the East Coast. So I'm just going to share my.
Wait a second. Aren't you on the West Coast?
Oh, sorry, West Coast, the other side. Yeah, same difference. You know what I mean. Geographically embarrassed there for a second.
I had to think. I was like, oh, wait, hold on a second. North.
All right.
Yeah.
Can you see the Excel spreadsheet?
Yes.
Brilliant. Got the right screen. So essentially, this is the standard buy list or scorecard that Cam puts out every week. All the normal columns across the top up to K. Then I've added in L and M over here. I've added in KLM. So the first bit of what we've got here is essentially from Stock Filter, which I assume is some sort of direct output from Stock Doctor or something like that. Cam, is that right? Yeah, cool. Okay. So yes. That automatically formats the date, as you can see there. All we need to pull from that is actually the day, month, year. So that's all this formula up here does, is pull that out exactly as we need it. And then all in a date format, I might add, sorry. So as you can see up here, this is in a custom format of whatever it is. Yeah, so just giving you the date format up there. I don't think it needs to be in a custom format. I think we can just change that to like a short date or something like that. Doesn't affect it, but it is essentially in a date format. And then the next one underneath is pulling it into the format that Excel likes to soak up for its stock analysis data. So that's all those two numbers do. So essentially in my spreadsheet, I've just whited those out by using a white color up here so that they don't confuse the situation. So that's those two formulas. Any questions on those two? I'm really happy to. I think I've already put those in the post. So.
Well,
Sorry,
was that Angela?
Yeah, me. Yeah. Do we type that? I don't know what we do. Do we type that date in? Because otherwise it stays the same, doesn't it? I'm confused at how the whole thing works.
So see the 21st of May 2020. So every time you download a new spreadsheet from Cam, it will have a different date on it because you've output the data from Stock Doctor. And right. So that date will be the same as what you see over here. It's just a formatting thing. And then this date here will stay the same for every month. So as soon as we click over to June, that will become the 31st of May. Because
okay.
what we're actually trying to do is grab the last day of the month for the previous month, because that's what the Josephine, sorry about the confusion with a Schrodinger's cat there at the start of my post, but essentially what we're trying to do is find a Josephine, which is the last price of last month. So that's what that date there is for. And then
can I stop and ask you a question? Just to clarify, because I know I asked you this question a couple of times before I finally understood. So one of the questions I had is, why can't we set the date so it's today and we can look at the latest price? So if we're doing it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and we want to see if it's a Josephine right at that moment, but that's not going to work. Can you explain that to me for the fourth time, David?
Sure. So the date up here is because the definition of a Josephine is that the price that we have is higher than last month's close. Yeah. So what we need to do is tell Excel what the last date of the last month was, and then we can tell it to find the close of last month. So that's all that one is about.
I understand.
Sorry.
I understand that one, but rather than using the close of yesterday's price to compare to the end of the month, we wanted to use today's price at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But you told me that it's a stock history data limitation. Is that right?
It is. You're just getting ahead of the lecture there, Cam. Sorry, mate.
Sorry, I'll shut up.
So
mate, that's my life story. I'm always ahead of the pack, too far ahead of the pack.
The next part I was about to explain is this is the latest close. And as Cam has exactly just pointed out there, all we're putting in there is yesterday's close. The reason for the long and drawn out formula here is because essentially I've tried to add in a little bit of regression, I guess. If yesterday was a weekend or whatever else, it looks for Fridays. If yesterday there wasn't enough trading, or there was no trading, sorry, so there's no actual close yesterday, then it looks to the day before and that sort of stuff. So that's all that is doing, but essentially it's trying to find yesterday's. I'm taking out weekends. And the reason that we do that is because to try and get today's price, we actually need to change. If I give you a demo, so if I actually change this to, instead of being just a normal Excel, if we change the data type to a stock, which will then change this to a stock data type, then I can come across here and go, it's equal to that dot price, and it'll give me the latest price. Okay. But to do that, I have to change this data type, and then you can see that we've lost all our data here because it doesn't recognize this anymore because it's of the formatting. I can change that, but ultimately anybody who doesn't have Excel 365 won't be able to use this because they don't have these stock data types. And there was one other reason that escapes me at the moment of why we didn't want to do that. I'll put it in the post, I think. Hang on, 2 secs. It's up here somewhere. Stock data type, yep. Excel throws a... Yeah, okay, so if I... Sorry, just to explain, if I try and put today's date in this formula, then it'll throw an error formula. It'll throw a hash value error. So that's why I can't put today's date in here for stock history, which is this stock history formula type here. And so we need to change it to this stock type. And it's a manual process. So every time you got a new stock list, you'd then have to downfill those as a stock type. And what else? What other reason was there? Here's today's date. Yeah, so Excel 365 you need, so anybody who doesn't have a subscription won't be able to do it. And there's no autofill. So yeah, you've just got, that's a manual process of selecting it and for all of those columns and changing it. So that's why I didn't do it.
So technically what that means is this is only useful first thing in the morning?
Well, yeah, it depends how, if you're checking for a Josephine when you're going to buy a stock, then if you're not happy to use yesterday's price, then yeah, that's right.
That's right. So you can use it like 10 o'clock in the morning, but after the market opens, the price is probably going to change. But so yeah, it works for me because that's usually when I'm looking at it first thing in the morning anyway.
Yeah, Sim, you had a question, mate?
Yeah, for those of us that have Stock Doctor, isn't it fairly easy to do a download in the evening about 5:30, 6 o'clock when everything's updated to actually get the latest price? It's a matter of 2 or 3 minutes just to download it and put it in the spreadsheet. Would that work?
So this isn't actually, so these data points, sorry if I'm missing the point of your question, but these data points here are actually from Revisit, or
okay.
is it, they're not actually from Stock Doctor.
Refinitiv, yeah.
Refinitiv, sorry, yeah. So they're a different data provider. And the way that they've coded it up, and this is only from my understanding from experience, is that it's not until the next day that the data becomes a history.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Look, if I can certainly publish a spreadsheet that is designed to do it intraday, Cam, if you want, for people who have a subscription and that sort of stuff, but just be aware that you will have to change these values. So you'll get the values from Stock Doctor like this. I presume that's how the output is just the ticker code. Is that right? It just comes like this out of Stock Doctor.
Yeah, if you download it from Stock Doctor, it's just a plain
right.
text.
And so if I change the formulas, then you'll have error codes in these fields here until you then grab it. And I guess I can explain this in a disclaimer page or whatever, or explainer page. But you'll just need to grab all of these fields and change them to stocks, and then it'll populate the data, if that makes sense. Anybody got questions about that?
No, I think that's good. I think let's look at that as another project down the track that yourself or somebody else can take on. But let's keep going with the way that you've got it set up.
Yeah, cool. Righto. So that's what that formula there does, is essentially grab the latest price, and then all we're doing is comparing the price that you've got here, which is the close from yesterday, or Friday if it's a Saturday, Sunday, to the price that it was on the last day of the month. If it's higher, then it's not a Josephine. If it's lower, then it is a Josephine. And that's really it. It's a pretty simple process. The hard part is, like, comparing one price to another is easy. Getting the data is the hard part, and what takes up all the computing. And just to explain, I've added another column here, which is spark lines. I think Cam's already done this in some previous things, but essentially this is just showing the last 5 years worth of data as a spark line, and that's essentially doing the same thing here. In another tab is just grabbing the stock history for each month for all of the stocks, and then doing a little trend line. But it doesn't give you your 3-point trend lines automatically or anything like that. It's just a bit of a view. So that's all that is. Have I confused everybody sufficiently?
I'm good. And the future versions of the Monday buy list that I put out will have this all built into it. So maybe not the column M there, but the other stuff I've already built into it. So I think it's just a great way for me to quickly scan down. I mean, I just filter column L for no, and I quickly have a short list of things to look at, which is terrific. Saves me checking 200 stocks. I just look at the 10 right now that or the 3 that aren't Josephine's.
Yeah, so hang on. So we've done the same thing as far as Kim and I with Josephine's, and just using a filter to show whether they are or aren't, and just filtering on that. So that's exactly what we do as well. So to do that, if you don't already know how to do it, is just come up here, filter, and then filter, take out the yeses and the no datas. Oh, sorry, no data. I didn't explain that. So you know how I said if it'll look back, if it's a Monday, it'll look back to Friday, then to Thursday, then to Wednesday. If it doesn't find any data for those 3 days, then it says that share doesn't have any data. And I would suspect that if it doesn't have any data, then it's probably a bit of a dodgy share as far as average daily volume anyway. So unless you're looking for really small stocks, it's probably not one that you'd want to invest in anyway. Oi, quiet. Sorry about that. Puppy, I was standing on his ball. I was keen for it.
On his balls? No wonder he yelped.
No. Singular.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that just brings up all the no's so that you can see which ones you could, and that's today's list. So, yeah.
Right, golf clap for David, everybody.
Cool.
Everyone's on mute, so they're golf clapping.
No, they are.
You can't hear it.
Yeah.
Thank you, David. I think it's great. Anyone have any questions for David?
Oh, sorry, I did have a couple there. Well, go. You missed it, and you would like another explainer, yeah?
I was actually just clapping. It's fantastic.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Bob. No, I just appreciate it. And Adnan, sorry for the pronunciation.
Sorry, mate. It was the same thing. I was doing the clap as well.
All right. Okay. It's putting your hands up. Anyway, okay. All good. Thanks, guys.
Good on you, David. That's great. Like I was saying to Adnan, actually, before everyone else came online, just I'm never fail to be impressed by the how clever people in the QAV community are and their willingness to contribute stuff to make all of this easier. So we've got the Bredelator and we've got the Flitman sheet and we've got David's bit of work here. So it's great. I mean, somebody sent me an email today saying, I can't believe how much easier this is from when we started 3 years ago. One of our long-term subscribers is saying these tools have just made putting together a buy list so much faster and more streamlined the process. So, and it's all because of people like Brett and Andrew and David that are contributing their smarts. So, thank you again, David. From
Too easy.
Tony.
I did say I'd do a Google Sheets equivalent as well. No promises. I haven't played in Google Sheets yet, but from what I've read so far, it should be doable. I'll work on producing that one that has the stuff so that you can do the intraday. That shouldn't be too hard.
Well, one of the limitations of Google Sheets is that we've discovered with the Bredelator is Google Finance, which sits on the back end of that, struggles with fractions of cents for some reason. So when we're doing things, when we're working with shares under sort of the 50-cent mark, charting in the Bredelator gets a little bit tricky. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not. So you might hit the same hurdle. Just be aware of that.
Yeah, cool. Is that so? It doesn't actually. It only ever gives you cents down to 2 decimal or dollars down to 2 decimal places. Is that right?
Maybe that. I'm not exactly sure of the nuts and bolts of it, but Brett Fisher will be able to fill you in, or Tony will be able to fill you in on it. So if you have any challenges, just shoot me an email and I'll connect you up with Brett, and I'm sure he'll be able to walk you through it.
So easy. Cheers.
Good stuff. Well, that's that part of it. We're done. No,
I missed all that because I just logged in. Have you recorded it, or are you gonna?
I have, Evan. No problems.
That'd be
great. I'll put it up on YouTube and on the website. You can watch it, but yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Excellent. Thank you.
That's all right. That's what I'm here for, to press buttons and record things.
And I've watched Marketing the Messiah, by the way. Very good.
Oh, good. See the poster in the background there?
Yeah, I can see the poster. I watched it. It was good.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it.
I did like it.
Tell your friends.
I told him.
Oh, it was a good 4 years of my life went into that film.
4 years, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Makes Christianity look a bit second rate somehow.
Oh, well, look, I don't know about that, but it's just an honest telling of the history of it according to New Testament scholars and ancient historians who have spent their lives studying it. So, yeah, thought it was worth getting the story out there. Anyone else got any questions about marketing the Messiah? I mean, QAV. Or the psychopath
Angela.
epidemic or anything else. I spent most of my day studying Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, so I can talk about that, whatever you need. Angela.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I'm boring. I'm back onto Excel sheets. How do you get the list that you put up each week? How do you put that on an Excel sheet? Because the formula that we get from Tony's sheet is way longer. When I've tried to copy that and put it onto another sheet myself, having less columns, all the data disappears. So I just wondered how you go from that great big download to the handful of columns that you've got.
You're talking to me or to David?
Sorry, Cam.
Me? Yeah. So you're talking about just the scorecard that we send out each week?
Yeah, because I want to have a copy. Like sometimes I do that through the week, not waiting on you. So I wanted to be able to do the same thing, have the same formula that David sorted. But I find that when I try and copy and paste from the B sheet, like a column of figures, I go and put in another one, that all just disappears. So how do you go from the big Excel to the one that we publish?
Yeah, the trick is paste values in Excel. So, because the download or the main sheet, like the Tony's checklist, has a bunch of formulas in it, and those formulas are looking for data in other columns, other cells. So if you just do paste, it'll break because it's looking for data references that don't exist. So it's just paste values, like a special paste in Excel. So it just cuts out the formulas and gives you the results. That's it, really.
Okay, awesome. That was my two questions. I wanted to find out what how to make that thing work that David had, and also how to actually make up my own columns. So I appreciate both of you. I've got to duck off because I've actually got people that I'm entertaining tonight.
Oh, right.
So I'm having a bit of a nibble of a boring entree while we're having this conversation. So thank you very much. Thanks for organising that, and thank you, David.
Enjoy your nibbles.
Thank you. Right.
Thanks, Angela.
All right, cheers.
Bye.
See ya. Sim, do you still have a question, or did you get yours out?
Yes, I do. First of all, I do appreciate David's elegance in doing the formula. I do it in a much cruder way, in that I have a similar kind of sheet that obviously derives from Tony's, and I get the current month's downturn. I use something very similar to populate the current month's downturn. And what I'd like to know is there any way of automating the underlying commodity cell? Because then I'd have pretty much, well, a lot of this sheet automated and make life a lot easier.
Yeah, so you can't really do that for the commodity status because you need to know which commodity is underlying for each stock. So you can actually pull the prices and the last month's price and all that sort of stuff to work that out, but you don't actually know in any publicly available source what the percentage of the commodities are for each stock. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. That was the answer I was afraid I was going to get, but I asked the question anyhow.
I did start to try and automate the column that Cam puts out under commodity status, and you need to add palladium, by the way, Cam. But there's no real way to pull that data down, because for each individual share, you'd have to have some data source that tells you what percentage of, say, gold, for example, a company derives its income from, and so that's the same thing that we had with Zimplats, right? So they were, we thought they were mainly one, but then looking at this, we had to go to quite a lot of depths to understand exactly where they derived their income from, to then understand which chart we were going to use.
So you said I need to add palladium to that list. I'll do that.
Yes, sir. And it's, I think, hang on.
Yeah, thanks.
Currently a buy.
the commodities, the whole commodity thing's a little bit clumsy at various levels. Stock Doctor's commodity stuff is tricky. You can't directly link to some of it. I spoke to Victor Di Pasquale at Lincoln Indicators a while back about this. He's like the head of dev there, and asked him about getting better access to their commodity tracking, but they don't do it. They don't make it available. It's still clumsy. Yeah, and they don't have everything that we need either. Like they don't have gold in AUD. There's a couple of other commodities that we track that they don't. It's a little bit messy, unfortunately. And
Market Index is a Perth. Market Index is a Perth company. They do commodity tracking, but again, don't track all of them. So
and Trading View and trade. There's another one called Trading something. Yeah. Ideally, when we build the QAV app, at some point, we'll find a way to automate all of that. And of course, the other big thing that we're trying to work out at the moment is how do we automate the qualified audit monitoring. But so far, no one has been able to figure that out. The ASX don't track it. Stock Doctor don't track it. So I think we need to hire a team of smart kids who just scan annual reports for us, constantly tracking that stuff and putting it in a database or something at some point. All right. Wal, I think you got another question, Wal?
Just snuck in there. So this might be a Suncorp thing. I use the Suncorp share trade app, and you can either limit what price or conditional, but there's one there called market at market value. But then it has this little note after it that says market orders are placed 3 price steps above the best offer price at the time the order is processed. And I'm just thinking, why would I do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Abnormal?
I've never seen that before in any of my trading apps. Well, it's above my pay grade. I think I need to send that to your brother-in-law.
Yeah. Well, I might go and ask Suncorp first.
Okay. You can start there.
It just sounds like a Suncorp thing, so all good.
I don't think Tony would know either, because he just calls Alex Hay and says, buy me something. So buy me a couple of $1 million of, FMG, and they sort it out for him. So I don't think he's ever had to navigate those things either.
While my St. George trading app has the same option, and it also does the same thing. I think the idea is you're telling it to buy or sell on market. It's basically saying we're going to get the trade done for you as soon as possible. And I think the strategy there is if we price it, 3 points above, you're definitely going to get the purchase done straight away. But I've noticed that it won't always pay 3 points above when it transacts. It's trying to grab the next available trade, and if it can get it lower than that, it will. But it's more about you don't want to wait for the transaction to go through, to try and get your price. It's just going to try and get the purchase done for you, as soon as possible.
Okay, good, thank you.
Maybe getting somebody from the ASX to do on the show to talk about the actual mechanics of buying and selling shares would be a good one, Cam, because I believe that's to do with the mechanics of how when you put a trade in, they if they can fill it with the parcels that are available, because they have minimum parcel sizes and all that sort of stuff, if they can fill it with the price that you've put in as your price, then they'll do that. But they won't go above that. If the price they can actually fill it with is less, then they'll do it with that. So as you say, they're just trying to fill the parcel that you've requested, the parcel size, as opposed to exactly the price.
Makes sense. Good stuff. Thanks, guys. Any other questions? Nothing? We're all done? Hello, Liz.
No, you go, Liz.
Me? My turn? very new at this, but I just wanted to ask at what point above a byline is a stock getting too expensive or what? I mean, I think GR I've looked at and it's way above that byline. Is there a point where you just don't? Because it just seems, but you still got it listed as a buy on the buy list. So you just keep buying even though it's done really well already?
Yeah, we get that question a lot, and
Sorry,
Tony's. Yeah, no, that's okay. Like Tony's position is always, no, he'll buy it. He doesn't know where the top is, and if a stock is doing well, then he will buy it. The classic example that he always falls back on is Fortescue Metals Group, FMG. A couple of years ago, when we were doing the show and we started buying FMG, some of our listeners were saying, you're crazy. It's, look at the chart. The price has gone up, 50% from where it was. And then it went up another 50%, and they said, you're crazy. And then it went up 100%, and it kept going. It just kept going, right? So Tony's take is, like, he doesn't know where the top is. So if it's a buy, it's a buy. And if the share price has gone up a lot, it tells him that it's doing something right. It's doing well. Everyone wants a piece of it. As long as it meets our criteria, like the price has gone up, but if it's on our list, it means we still think it's undervalued. It's good quality. It's undervalued, even if it's gone up a lot in the last 6-12 months, like a GRR, which is up, I think, 120% since I bought it a few months ago. It's doing something right. So yeah, Tony doesn't like, this is part of not forecasting. I think for Tony, he's not trying to predict how high it can go or where it should be. It just looks at the fundamentals. If it's got a good score, it's high up on the buy list, then yeah, he'll buy it and just let it play out, see what happens. And sometimes, like I know with Macquarie Group, he and I have both bought that a couple of times in the last year when it's been around $200 a share, and it goes up and then it falls back and we have to rule one it. So sometimes it doesn't work because it's gone up a lot too, but in other times it does work. I bought another lot of GRR. I think I added to the dummy portfolio just a month or so ago, and it's gone up 30% again since then. It had gone up 100%, or I don't know, 70-80%, then it went up another 30%. So, which is not bad for a month, right? So, if something's on a winning streak, Tony always quotes Buffett as saying, if you had Michael Jordan on the team, would you bench him because he'd scored too many goals? No, you leave your best players on the court. So I don't know enough about sport, although I did watch the Last Dance documentary. Everything I know about Michael Jordan, I know from that documentary. But yeah, that's the analogy that Buffett and Tony use. So if it's a winner, you jump on board. And thanks, Sim. See you, mate. Yeah, that's the answer, basically. See you, David. Thanks, mate. Appreciate you coming on and doing all your work. Good on you.
No worries, guys. Thanks. See you later.
Does that help, Liz?
Yeah, no, that's good. Thank you. Yeah. And one more little thing on Stock Proctor setting an alert for the 10% rule. I can only see where you can put in a fixed price, 10% from a fixed price. Is there a spot where, because the price changes all the time?
Oh, well, the 10% is the 10% from your buy price.
Is it?
Yeah. So I have a little spreadsheet that I just open up every time I'm creating an alert, and I just get it I put in my buy price. Then it'll tell me what the Rule 1 price is, which is 10% less than my buy price. And then I'll go to the Bredelator and I'll get the sell price. I'll stick that in. And then, I go to Stock Doctor and I set 2 alerts, the Rule 1 alert and the 3-point sell line alert. And people sometimes ask, why do you set both? Because it's going to trip one before it trips the other. Obviously, one's going to be higher than the other. But what I found over the last couple of years is that it's when I'm going in at the beginning of every month and resetting my alerts, the 3-point sell line alerts, rather than having to go back to my portfolio, and I run lots of different portfolios, and my super fund and my personal ones, and one in my business name, and the QAV ones, and all that kind of stuff. Rather than have to go and remind myself what I own, I just go to the alerts, because everything's already in alerts and Stock Doctor. I can just scroll down that and check them all individually. So for me, it's just sort of a stopgap, because sometimes I have in the past, early on, I would set the Rule 1 alert, not put in the 3-point sell line alert, because I thought, well, it's lower than the Rule 1. But then 3 months later, the price has gone up, and it's well past a Rule 1 situation. But the 3-point trend line sell price might have gone up dramatically over that period of time, because the low point, the L1 on the charts, dropped off the end of the chart. It's got a new L1, more of a steep sell line, etc., etc. And if I don't already have it in the alerts, I can kind of miss it, because I'm a bit sort of flaky and spinning 37 plates at the same time. So if I just do it, if I set both of them on the day I buy the stock, I know it's in, and I will review it at the beginning of the next month, and I don't have to, worry about it. So that's what I do.
Okay. Right.
Good. Any other question?
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Can I ask?
Sure. No one else is. Go for it, Liz. The floor is yours.
Looking at Bendigo Bank this morning, I think someone else in the Facebook group asked the same question about Bendigo Bank. Had it crossed the buy line? And it looked to me as though it had.
Have you looked at the Bredelator?
Yeah, but didn't I just see, was it David put up a chart? The Excel sheet said, I don't know, I can't remember now. I looked at it this morning, I've been out, so.
Let me open the Bredelator, and I'll share my screen and you can have a look.
He had the chart up on there, and it looked like it had gone through the sell buy line. And I just wondered if there'd been an answer on that.
I haven't had a chance to check it today, honestly, so let me bring it up. Bredelator is really slow.
Still showing a Josephine on my Bredelator.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think somebody in the Facebook thread, I did see that, said it might have been a buy earlier in the day, but by the end of the day it was
but I think it might have gone back down. Yeah. I think by the end of the day it's gone back down.
Yeah.
So if you recognise it during the day as having gone through the buy line, should you, do you suggest waiting, see how far it goes through the buy line, or?
No, I if I happen to look at it and it's a buy, I buy it, and if it falls back below the buy line after you've bought it, it doesn't really matter. If it becomes a Josephine later, then c'est la vie, I own it. As long as if it drops below the sell line or the Rule 1 line, then I'll sell it again. But if it's a buy, I buy it, and you can't predict or wait. If you stick around waiting to see what happens, it's sort of a never-ending cycle, right? You could be, you never really know when it's going to change.
Yeah.
It looks like it's been above its buy line though for a few months. Like it's crossed back here. So what's that? 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, I guess, because we're towards the end of the month, it crossed its buy line. So in fact, I think I did buy it a couple of months ago when it crossed in my super fund. So
I think it popped up to 1068 or something this morning, and I just sort of wondered.
So it probably got out of Josephine.
Out of Josephine, yeah. Okay.
Although Tony has this new rule now that when something has been a Josephine, we want to wait until it crosses the second byline, the new byline. So, for example, can you guys... can you... Probably won't be able to see this. I'm going to do a screen... Can you see that screen grab?
Yep.
Okay, so the second byline is probably going to look like that. Can you see that?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think Tony would say he would wait for it to cross that line before it becomes a buy again once it's been a Josephine, the second byline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still seems to be a bit of wiggle room in that with him. I think he's sort of, this is a working hypothesis for him at the moment. He's not completely committed to this, I don't think, but every time I've asked him about is it no longer a Josephine in the last month or two, he's talked about second bylines. So that's the rule I'm trying to apply now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sometimes I forget and just buy something, and then he chastises me afterwards, but c'est la vie.
Okay, thank you.
It's all right. Thank you. Any other questions? Well, if not, I will bid you all adieu. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for supporting the show, and I will see anyone who's in Brisbane. Any Brisbane people here? No? Oh, well, you coming to dinner?
When's that, Cam?
Saturday night. Well, Tony's up for dinner.
This Saturday night.
Yeah.
Shit, every chance then.
6 o'clock. Belvedere Bar and Grill at Portside.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
All I heard from the wife was we're cleaning up Tony on Sunday. So that's all I focused on.
Oh, well, you're already seeing it. But there's a QAV dinner on Saturday night if you want to come along to that too. Might be too much Tony, though. All right.
Thanks, everyone. That's good.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.
Yeah.